Good morning, St. Andrews. I'm delighted to be here this morning. Usually I'm sitting down there instead of up here, but Dave is away at the regional meeting in Medicine Hat this weekend, and so here I am. And as you can see, I'm Reverend Bob Settle. Welcome to all of those who are at home. Dave gave us slight warning last week that it might not happen, but because we had the equipment at the back was moved around. We have a brand new desk at the back where Lawrence can see us better, and Lawrence and Brendan are running things back there for us today, and we appreciate their ongoing work, and we appreciate others who are taking part in worship today. Daryl for music and the choir, and Leanne for their contribution in music. Also for the people who have organized the communion, our new worship committee arrangement. And I'm not sure who all they are, but you know who you are, and thank you all very much for putting things together. For those of you who are at home, we are celebrating communion today. You might want to take some time before we get to that point in the service to have some bread and juice or coffee or whatever you feel comfortable having communion with at home as you join with us in communion from wherever you are. There are some announcements I know Doug has a couple of things to share, so I'll ask Doug to come up right away.
Thank you, Bob. Morning, everyone. I'm Doug Moss, chair of the outreach team at St. Andrews. And I think before I do my announcements, I think we should, everyone should give a certain person in this community of faith a round of applause. Lawrence Riken took the lead on getting that set up in the back, and it looks great. It blends in with the whole sanctuary. So everybody give Lawrence a big round of applause. And this all started Monday morning. They didn't know whether it would all be done in time for the service today, and it is, so great work. A couple of things on outreach. So you've heard Dave mention for about 4 weeks now the need for a coordinator for the Meals on Wheels that St. Andrews does in August. So at our outreach team meeting on Monday, we came up with this plan. Instead of having one person as a coordinator, let's get 2 people to share the work in August, spread the work around. So I said I'd be willing to do one of those 2 roles in August. So at fellowship time, I just need somebody in this congregation, in this community of faith, to come up and say, Doug, I'll work with you on that. So if someone wants to do that and work with me in August, we'll spread the work around. And I'm available for some of August, but not all of August. So that's why we need 2 people. So I'll be available at fellowship time. And the other thing, and Bob was at the worship meeting on Monday, or not the worship, the outreach, meeting on Monday, is we thought maybe with the election coming up on the 29th, perhaps people of this community of faith might be interested in getting together the next week or 10 days to discuss the election. Not so much who you're going to vote for, but what are the important issues facing all of us in central Alberta and in this province? Maybe we could come together, come up with some questions, ideas that we can ask the local candidates at all candidates meetings, or if they're campaigning at your door. What issues are important? I know our voting numbers are going down over the last 10, 15 years. Some people are becoming cynical about elections. Maybe not a healthy environment. Maybe we can engage in discussions about that and how we can make it more healthy. So again, I'll be available at fellowship time. If any people would be interested in talking to me about that and getting together, see if there's any interest. And those people out there live streaming, you can contact Jana at the church office if you're interested as well. So thank you, Bob. A couple of ideas.
I noticed in the bulletin there's an announcement about the hybrid discussion group that Dave has been interested in getting going, looking at the question of why to go to church. So contact us there. You can contact the office and find more out about that. Spring flower sale, Terry Lynn will be looking after that, and her number's there. And also garage sale, we'll need lots of hands. Setup begins on the week of May the 9th. So through that week we'll be getting ready, and the following weekend then we'll be doing the garage sale. Are there any other announcements? Okay.
Good morning. So Bob just kind of touched on the garage sale, so it is this week. We will be at the church Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday from 10 to 4. Friday, we'll be setting up from 10 to 3, and then the sale starts 3 to 7. I'm really hoping to get maybe 2 more volunteers for Friday night. I have 2 people on cash, and I have 2 people that would just be there helping. So that's not a whole lot of people. Saturday as well, we don't have a ton of people, so if we could get a few more people to help on Saturday, particularly at 2 o'clock. Whatever's left over from the sale, we're donating to Mamas for Mamas in Red Deer and the Lacombe Food Bank. So if we can get some help packing it up, putting it in trucks and driving it to the food bank, that would be great. I have the schedule in case you've forgotten when you've signed up, or if you want to sign up, so come see me after church.
Thank you. Anything else? Well, we begin, as we always begin, with love, without condition, without exception. Love is tremendously important. We all need love. We need love like plants need sunlight and water. So every day we look for love, maybe sometimes in the wrong places.
There seems to be a difference between looking for love when we believe we have it and looking for love when we think we don't. This is at the center of our worship service. We are beloved by no less than God. God knows you better than you know yourself. God loves you, lesbian, gay, bi, trans, straight, queer. God loves your race and loves your faith and your doubt, your irritability and your disability, your struggles and your triumphs. You are beloved. And as we gather together, we acknowledge the land we are on.
The land on which we live, work, and play is
Sacred and beloved to God and to us. We are Treaty 6 people, which means we are a part of a covenant to share this land and care for it with settlers, First Nations, and Métis. We are called to live with respect in creation and in right relations with all its people. And given our history, our economy, and the structure of our society, that requires change. So we are an affirming community and also a community of mission and purpose. And now, as we are gathered
here. We let the Spirit of the risen Christ come among us. The flame I light here reminds us of Christ's presence through our worship time here together and always. So let us sing together, God, we praise you for the morning, number 415 in Voices United. some children who'd like to come up for the story? Not many today, but there's some. I'll get you to sit on the chairs right at the front here. I want to tell you a story this morning. It's a story that was written quite a long time ago by a man in Russia. But it's a story about a cobbler. Do you know what a cobbler is? A cobbler is somebody who makes shoes. Can you imagine making shoes? They used to going to the store and buying the shoes all made up, and they were made in a factory somewhere, aren't they? But it used to be that people made them. They'd cut out the leather, and then they'd sew it on a machine, a big, strong machine that would cut through the leather. Or even before that, they used to sew them by hand, which would be pretty tough through leather. But this story is about a man named Martin, who was a cobbler. And he started out being a cobbler and having pretty good life at the start. He found a wife, he was married, and he was doing his work on the shoes. He knew the shoes of just about everybody in the town because he made everybody's shoes. He knew this foot and this shoe and that shoe. And he and his wife, well, they were going to have a baby. The sad thing happened, the baby died before it was born. And then again they tried. And again the baby died. And again. Finally, they had a little boy who was born and started to grow. But not very long after that, Martin's wife died. So Martin was feeling pretty down, but he was taking care of his son, and his son was growing up. And it was a few years, not very many, but a few years, and his son got a fever. And Martin did what he could to try and cool that fever down and to get the boy okay, but it didn't help. And he died. So Martin was left all alone. He was feeling pretty bad. He'd work away on his shoes, look out his window. He had a house that was kind of low down, and so when he looked out his window, he would see on the sidewalk the shoes of the people passing by. Somehow, every once in a while, this mic gives me funny sound. But anyways, he'd see the people's shoes passing by, and he would work away. And he was feeling pretty down. One day, he saw the minister go by. And so he called him in to have tea with him. I kind of think sometimes I might just end my life. The minister said, that's not a good thing. You know, God gives us life for a reason, and God loves us and cares for us. I know what you should maybe do is work. You could read the Bible every day. Every day for a while, I read the Bible and see how that helps out. So Martin bought himself a New Testament, and he started reading, and he was reading the Bible every day, and he was finding it quite good, and he liked the stories about sheep and the goats, and the sheep would go into God's reign because they had looked after the people who were hungry, the people who were sick, the people he'd visited in prison, and so on. The sheep said, "We didn't do that for you." And Jesus said, "You did this for the least of me, my brothers and sisters. You did it for me." And Martin was really impressed by that, but you know, he was also really tired, and he fell asleep. But in his dream, or maybe it wasn't a dream, he wasn't sure, maybe it was a vision, he heard someone who said, "Martin, this is the Lord, and I'm going to come and see you today." And then Martin slept. In the morning, Martin woke up and he thought, now, was that a dream? Was that somebody really talking to me? Is the Lord really coming today? I don't know. And so he watched out his window very carefully. As he watched, there came along a soldier. He was an old soldier. Estevanovich was his name. And Estevanovich was just walking along, so tired, and so weary. So Martin went out and invited them in, and they had a talk together, and the soldier told him about how he'd lost so much while he was off at battle, and he was all alone, and life wasn't good, and they talked. And after a while, well, the soldier felt a little better, and he went on his way. But Martin thought, no, I'm still waiting. Jesus is going to come today. He was just outside Martin's door and tried to keep himself warm and try to keep the baby warm. And Martin saw her and said, come in, warm up here, and we'll give you some warm tea. And I got some soup on. And so he gave her some soup and fed her some soup, and he gave her some tea, and she warmed up. And then he went and said, my wife had a nice shawl here. I'll give it to you. You can use it to keep yourself warm, or maybe after, if it warms up a little and you don't need it, you could sell it at the store and get more food for you and the baby. And the woman felt so happy and so much better, and she went on her way. Well, Martin still waited.